Good evening, Yorktown, and welcome to the final town board meeting of 2020. If you can all please join me, rise, and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America,
America,
and to the
republic
republic for which it
which
stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
nation, God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shut
Thank you. You can all
everything off.
please join me for a moment of silence. And we say a special prayer this year as we are here in the holiday season. And we embrace the idea of hope as we come to the close of this most challenging year. And we pray for all those inflicted by COVID-19, those who are continuing to fight it, those who have lost their battle with COVID-19. We pray for our frontliners, we pray for our first responders, and of course, those brave men and women protecting our freedoms overseas.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Amen is right. I want to wish everyone a blessed holiday season and a happy new year. And it's on the horizon. 2021 is just a few days away. And I know I speak for everyone when I say good riddance 2020.
Riddance back.
That's right. I did just have, before we begin, I want to just do quick introductions. My name is Matt Slater, Town Supervisor, joined by Councilman Tom Diana, Councilman Alice Roker, Councilman Vishnu Patel on the phone, Councilman Ed Lachterman. We are joined by our Town Clerk, Diana Quast. We have our Town Attorney, Adam Rodriguez. And I see that we have our County Legislator from the 4th District, Vidak Dashi, who will be joining us just momentarily with our first agenda item. Very, very quickly, just in regards to garbage pickup. And I know, right, Alice, we talk about this all the time, Councilman.
Told you about that.
So I'm going to state it for the record. So here, there is a change in the garbage pickup because Christmas is on Friday. So for kitchen trash collections, if you have your Thursday collections will be picked up on Wednesday, December 23rd. Friday collections will be picked up on Thursday, December 24th. And the same goes for your recycling. So if your recycling is collected on Thursday, it'll be picked up Wednesday, December 23rd. Or if you have recycling on Friday, it'll be picked up on Thursday, December 24th. And all that can be found right on our website. I do want to let folks know that an executive order was signed by Governor Cuomo regarding the filing of tax exemptions, specifically for seniors and those with disabilities. They are allowing those exemptions that were previously filed to roll right over to the coming year. So you do not need to refile for your senior or disability tax exemption. That's in response, again, to COVID. Our town assessor, Kim Penner, will be issuing a letter to those who did file previously to make sure that you were properly notified. But of course, if you have any questions, please contact the assessor's office. No one needs to do anything now, though. That's the most important thing. Lastly, in regards to COVID, I know that we've all anxiously awaited almost daily the release of the map that the counties put out. The county is transitioning, and again, we have County Legislator Gashi with us. The county is transitioning to a more sophisticated interactive dashboard. Speaking with the county executive, we've said this before, when we received those numbers, there was a gap in their accuracy, anywhere from 2 to 3 days. But those 2 to 3 days grew. And again, they're getting that data from the state of New York. So that accuracy that we were seeing, there was a lag. That lag went from 2 days to 3 days to 4 days, and it continued to grow to the point where the county executive, and I thank him for this, the county executive said enough. He suspended the issuing of the map because it just wasn't accurate at that point in time. And so the county is working diligently. I've been in touch with the county executive, his staff, the Department of Health, and they're working diligently to put a interactive dashboard that they're going to launch in the next week or so And that'll once again provide specific data for each community, including the town of Yorktown. So until then, I've said this before, I've been very clear about this since the beginning. I'm committed to providing, and the town board is committed to providing, accurate and verified information. And so I'm not going to be sharing information that's rumored or I cannot verify with facts and data. So until that point, we are relying on the state's dashboard, which only provides information based on our region and based on our county. And I know there are residents who are upset about that, and I understand that, and I share those frustrations. But it's bad data doesn't help us make good decisions.
Right.
And so we have to make sure, and the county's doing a great job making sure that the data that we're going to be sharing moving forward is in fact accurate, and that only helps you make those really good decisions. Vaccine is being distributed throughout the community. I had a great meeting today with Scott Hayworth, president of Mount Kisco Medical Group, and they are getting ready to be a central hub of distribution for that vaccine. I had a conference call earlier today with our first responders. We're starting that coordination to make sure that those who are in line to get it, as the state has provided, do actually receive it. I've also spoken with our nursing home facilities to make sure they have the resources they need. And so we are trying our best to help coordinate in the best way possible as that vaccine becomes more readily available. But I think it's still, even though the vaccine is starting to come into our community, even though the vaccine, we keep hearing the great news, it's the light at the end of this long and terrible tunnel we've been down. The fact of the matter is, with the holidays here, with Christmas and New Year's, you have to continue to make smart and responsible decisions. And I know it's difficult. Christmas at my house is usually 30. It's usually a 30-person ordeal for 2 or 3, and even sometimes 4 days. We're kind of like the Griswolds. But this year, it's not happening. It's just my family. It's just my immediate family, and that's because we are trying to make sure that, frankly, my grandmother is going to be here for next year and for next year's Christmas.
Yeah.
And so we've all made that conscious decision to protect her. And in fact, the matter is that even with the vaccine, those types of decisions need to be made. And so please, this holiday season, we're so close to the end. We're so close to getting the vaccine. We're so close to reemerging from this terrible, terrible year. Let's continue to be smart. Let's continue to be focused. And let's continue to be good neighbors to each other and making those good decisions. So please, again, as you make those last-minute holiday arrangements, keep that in mind. If you're not feeling well, please stay home. That's really the key. And of course, as I continue to remind everyone, wear the mask, wash your hands, and practice that social distancing. Those are all proven to work. And this town, has really proven to me once again the importance of community and how strong we are when we're united. And we've done it all year. We've survived this together, and we have to continue to do so and continue to be there for each other and be good neighbors to each other. And I just also want to thank the town board and all of our partners in government, because the year has been something I still can't put into words, but we've gotten through it together and we've worked well together. And I do want to thank everyone involved for all their efforts. Having said that, we do have some personnel that we're going to discuss. I'm thrilled to welcome a Yorktown resident, Phil Marino. And we're going to pass a resolution tonight appointing Mr. Marino to the position of General Foreman, Job Class Code 0420-02. Mr. Marino's first day of work will be January 4th, 2021. He's to be paid from the Yorktown CSEA salary Schedule A, Group 16, Step 5, which is $90,159 annually. Of course, this is contingent upon a successful completion of a drug test. And be it further resolved that this appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 12, no more than 52 weeks, commencing the first date of appointment on January 4th, 2021. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Yorktown has authorized Philip Marino to be paid a stipend of $763.12 per pay period for the performance of building maintenance duties. Mr. Marino is going to be overseeing our refuse and recycling department. He's going to be overseeing the central garage, and he will be overseeing the building maintenance department, which all of which are just so essential to the functionality of our town and to the services that we provide to our residents. And he's bringing with him just an incredible wealth of knowledge and experience that I know every resident of this town is going to benefit from. And not for nothing, he's a Yorktown resident for decades. And so I know that he's going to have great pride in his work, great pride in the results that his departments are going to produce. And I'm going to entertain a motion to pass this resolution.
Motion.
A motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard, Phil.
Mr. Marino, anything you'd like to say to the residents of Yorktown?
No, I just want to say thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to the task in front of me. And nobody could be more happy than my family. After all these years, all the service that I've done for New York City, they're very happy that I'm now here working in Yorktown. I'm looking forward to a nice long career.
Phil, you work for New York City Sanitation. Can you tell people a little bit about how long and what you did there?
Well, I worked there 30 years. I started out as a sanitation worker and then moved up the ranks. I was a district superintendent, which would handle like a town like Yorktown, but it's a city, so it's a little smaller where you have a garage. I can somewhat like the highway garage.
Yes.
But it'd be like 100 people, like 30 collection trucks. And then I move up the ranks. I used to be the assistant chief of facilities, which there with New York City Department of Sanitation had about 140. I also was the assistant chief of cleaning for all the 5 boroughs, which is mechanical brooms, basket service, all the big events like the Times Square New Year's Eve.
Oh my God.
I've also had a lot of different jobs. I also was the borough chief of the Bronx, which there were 12 districts and 2 broom garages, which I was responsible for refuge, recycling, snow, cleaning, moving equipment, facilities, all under my command. And then when I retired as the chief of operations for the New York City Department of Sanitation. And under that job title there, one of the biggest things I was responsible for snow operations for the 5 boroughs, putting on people, moving equipment, making sure, setting up people to actually work the equipment, and as everybody knows, dealing with the weather changes day by day, that was a job that could take a lot out of you. And also within that job, facilities fell under me. Equipment, maintenance of all the buildings fell under me. Radio transmissions all fell under me. Communications, gas, oil, salt. It was just you were the chief operations. You ran the day-to-day operations 24/7.
We thank you for coming to Yorktown. Thank you.
You're very excited about it. Excellent.
Well,
Okay, I have a question. Now
yes.
you have to drive little late. So can you take a little extra longer nap, or are you going to get up at the same time?
No, unfortunately, I'm up early. I'm even now on my job now. I'm in my office at 6 a.m. and I probably will be in my office at 6 a.m. At this new job. Employees will be coming at 6. But the only thing is that I'm not going to know what I'm going to do with all this extra time. The office is 3 miles from my house.
That's the funny part.
I remember those long drives from Manhattan. I would get in the car in Manhattan, get home, and it'd be like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, So that I'm going to enjoy.
That's great.
Welcome.
Well,
Thank you.
Thrilled to
Thank
have
you.
you. We're thrilled to have you.
Yeah.
And we look forward to a lot of success. So thank
Yes.
you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
Phil.
very much. Okay, I'll see you
Welcome to the
guys.
team, Phil.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all of
Have a
you.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Right.
Same to
And
you.
I'll see you
See you,
guys.
Val.
I'll see you guys
January
January 4th.
See you
Okay.
on the 4th, bright and early.
That's it. I will be. All right. Thank you.
Take
Okay,
care, Phil.
bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, we have 2 additional resolutions that are coming out of closed session that relate to personnel. I'm going to read them in their in full. Well, be it resolved that Robert J. Reddy Jr. of Pleasant Valley, New York, is hereby appointed laborer, job class code 0425-05, within the Highway Department, to be paid from Yorktown CSEA Salary Schedule A, Group 5, Step 1, which is $45,258 annually. Be it resolved, contingent upon successful completion of a drug test and reference checks. Be it further resolved that this appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 12 nor more than 52 weeks commencing on the first date of appointment on January 4th, 2021. So we welcome
Motion.
Mr. Reddy.
So moved.
Motion, a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We welcome Mr. Reddy to the team. Last personnel item, and I know I'm not going to say his name correctly. So I apologize in advance. Be it resolved that Daniel J. Wazowski of White Plains, New York, is hereby appointed permanent to the Civil Service title Assistant Superintendent of Recreation, job class code 0261-01, from eligible list number 66-354. This is effective January 11th, 2021, to be paid $85,000 annually. Be it resolved, contingent upon successful completion of a drug test and reference checks. Be it further resolved that this appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 12 nor more than 52 weeks, commencing on the first date of appointment on January 11th, 2021. Motion?
Motion.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, Matt. What was that gentleman's name again?
I'm not going there. Dan.
I would just say Dan W.
Yeah, Dan the man. So we welcome Dan to the team. It's a great Parks and Rec department that's continuing to grow and thrive, and look forward to bringing his expertise to the town of Yorktown. He's got a lot of tools that we're going to benefit from, so we're excited to have him. And with that, we're going to move to our first work session agenda item. We're going to have with us Thompson and Bender. We have the team from Thompson and Bender giving us a year-end summary of their PR and communications work. Welcome. We're going to welcome Elizabeth Bracken Thompson.
I'll talk to you later.
Just saw Valerie.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Good. How are you?
Liz, Val, great to see
Good.
everyone.
And Jeff.
Thanks for the little break. Liz and I had time to clean out our refrigerator.
No problem. Get that cider ready.
That's right.
The spike cider. I know that's good for Christmas time.
Right.
You're thinking the right way, Tom.
It wards off COVID.
That's how I've been marketing it.
Market it that way.
Terrible.
So thank you for joining us. This is to provide an end of the year summary of the great work that Thompson and Bender has done for the town of Yorktown to date. And I know that you have a presentation that you wanted to show. Diana, if you can let Val share her screen. I'm guessing it's Val, right?
Yes.
Share the screen, Val.
Hey. Hey. Everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Got it.
All right. Well, it's been, it's hard to believe it's been about a year now since we've been working on this, and working with the town. Took us a while to get the campaign up and running, of course, but we're very proud of what we've done. Very happy to be, Liz and I, town residents and being part of this effort. And we think we've come a long way in a pretty short period of time. And we'll give you a quick run through of our whole, what we've come up with as a report on this year.
So thanks, Jeff. And first I want to say that it's been a challenging year for everyone. But I have to say that the town of Yorktown should really be proud because you pivoted and reacted to this challenge in such a meaningful way. by supporting this economic development campaign that we positioned ourselves as the go-to place. And we're going to walk you through some of the goals, messaging, and results. So first, our original goal when we all joined forces about a year ago was to position Yorktown as a community that is open for business with streamlined processes in place. And that was the message we wanted to deliver to our target audience that you see here, were business owners and executives who live in Westchester, but were looking for suburban satellite offices, also real estate developers, not only here in Westchester, but regional as well, and commercial real estate brokers. And our target geography was New York City and the county. And the timing was to launch this in August, just as we were, moving into the fall, and bring it through November. Our messaging was to communicate to those target audiences I just mentioned that Yorktown offers the streamlined municipal approval processes, shovel-ready sites with zoning in place, development locations that have pre-approved zoning in key locations throughout the town, and a wide diversity of existing retail, warehouse, and office locations. And certainly not last, and certainly not least, a safe environment, which really appealed to a lot of business people who didn't want to travel into downtown New York City anymore. Next, we moved on to our creative campaign development. As you all know, we came up and you all helped decide on the many different approaches we took. And the approach was Destination Y, Yorktown, up where you belong. Speaking again to those people who were moving, who were working in New York City or thinking about down county locations, to think about Yorktown. The next was the campaign tactics. And what we did, and you'll see on this next slide, was put together a marketing mix. We included PR, digital advertising, out-of-home signage, the website landing page, and paid social media. We ended up not doing the paid, just boosted social media because of our budget. But the message was clear. Yorktown is open for business. The overview was, again, we started in mid-August, and we've already gone through our targets and geography, but our total media spend was $30,707. And that included all digital and all advertising. In the next slide, you'll see our strategy. And our strategy with this small budget was to utilize highly targeted mix of digital advertising that placed Yorktown in front of those target audience people I just described to you. 100% focus was on digital opportunities to keep our plan nimble, trackable, and cost efficient. Then strong targeting, ensuring that the success of our message delivery, and to our business and real estate focused media, providing the relevant synergies, and then multiple touch points, increasing reach and frequency over a consistent period of time. And now I'm going to walk you through our flow chart. And you see that we started in August and continued through November. And these were all the different tactics that we used in our flow chart. So we were always present in the market at some point from mid-August through November. We wanted to make sure our presence was always there, no downtime. Next, you'll see the first thing we tackled in the next slide was our DestinationY.org landing page. And this is so when anyone touched on any of those digital ads or decided to go to DestinationY.org, they landed on this page. And Val, I don't know if we can go live to the page, but I think Val's going to try and do that for you and show you what we communicated when people clicked on those digital ads, or they wrote in DestinationY.org, or then, followed it on social media. So this was the landing page where you saw a mix of the beautiful outdoors that Yorktown is famous for, but also some of our commercial sites there on the left. And we stressed, as you see as Val scrolls down on the landing page, the accessible location, the affordable space, and the fast track approvals. That's what really appealed to these commercial real estate developers. And then we will respond to every inquiry. Just contact us. And we put a face and a name out there with telephone numbers and email addresses so people felt they didn't have to go through a lot of red tape. Go direct to the source. And of course, we wanted to spotlight our wonderful town board members who made this all happen. So that was a landing page, and we even had an inquiry slot here where if people didn't feel like they wanted to call or email, they could fill out this inquiry page and it would end up in Matt's email or in John Tegeter's email. And then we wanted to tell people a little bit about Yorktown too, for people who didn't know, where it's located in proximity to New York City and all the bullet points that you see. One of the most important ones we felt was that it's only 40 miles north of Midtown Manhattan, which a lot of people think of Yorktown as somewhere upstate. And then all the other planned message points, and then the planned design overlay districts where we could view, you could actually click on that and view the press releases, which we'll show you later. And then Yorktown by the numbers with all the town stats and data points. And then our closing. So this was our landing page where everyone was driven, hammering home the message.
It also is worth noting that at the same time, the town upgraded its website, redid the website.
Right.
And they did Robin and company did a great job with that. It's far better than it was, really great.
Right. And then next we talk about out-of-home signage after our landing page. And you've all seen the banners that hang in front of Town Hall with our Destination Y, live, work, play, dine, because we didn't want to forget the local merchants and businesses that had been shuttered during our lockdown and wanted to welcome everyone back, let people know we're open for business. On the next slide, you'll see the window clings with our Destination Y logo that we shared with all our local merchants because they are, after all, our best ambassadors, aren't they? And then on the next slide, I'm going to show you the actual digital ads that appeared, and then I'm going to show you where they appeared. And these are the ads that I told you people could click on and actually, and they were animated. So, and Val, maybe you can play it one more time, but if anyone saw these ads, you saw these, it wasn't just a static digital ad. It hit home with all of our numerous commercial sites, flexible zoning, and these are all the different slides that appeared on the animation in the digital form you see here and also in our banner ads. And next, our e-newsletter spotlighting businesses as part of our email communications, which was very successful as well. And then we did our big PR rollout. You were there. You know what we did. We announced the launch. We spotlighted businesses in that monthly town newsletter you saw and promoted it on boosted social media. And the next slide will show you the media launch. And I'm just going to scroll through some of these slides because we've got a ton of news coverage you see here in all these different publications, News 12, Aloha.com, NBC, Westchester Magazine. You can keep scrolling, Val. More stories on the overlay districts. We kept unveiling news stories and communications about businesses through the entire period of the campaign to keep it all fresh. And again, you see just some of the highlights: Westchester Fairfield Business Journal, companies actually moving to Yorktown. So we show them that we walk the walk, we just don't talk the talk. And now on to the thing we're most proud of is the metrics and reporting. So as I said before, you saw the digital ads. We wanted to focus on our target audience. We know they were real estate focused, and we used these media partners. In the first column, you see the Westchester Fairfield Business Journal, Crain's New York Business, The Real Deal, which is the Bible of commercial real estate developers throughout the New York metro area. And brokers. And then boosted posts. The column next to it, you'll see the total impressions. Impressions are eyeballs. How many people saw these publications that we were targeting? 1.5 million for the Business Journal over that period of time, almost 250,000 in Crain's, almost 500,000 for the Real Deal, and then almost 150,000 in boosted posts. And what you always want to see is the total clicks. And we gave you some benchmarks at the bottom of the page. And what's considered a really good benchmark for digital ads is 0.01% click-through rate. And if you look at the far right column, we exceeded that in every one of the publications. That meant that we were delivering the right message to the right audience. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been clicking through. And finally, the Facebook boosted posts again, incredible, 1,739 total clicks for a grand total of over 3,000 click-throughs. That's really amazing. And we're super proud of that. If I'm going to take you through the next slides to show you what each one of these did. You'll see our ad. These are the actual leaderboard ads for the News at Noon for the Westchester Fairfield Business Journal that is a digital format and goes out every day. And you see here the breakdown and you see where our ad was placed. And they over-delivered. We negotiated with them, so they delivered 54,000 more impressions than we actually paid for. And then in the next slide, you'll see our ad and where it appeared in Cranes, New York. Again, we did a run of site banner ads and total impressions of almost 250,000. And you see our banner ads right at the top and the bottom of that highlighted news page, which is great positioning. The impressions again, and they over-delivered by almost 90,000 impressions. The next slide is the real deal. And this one, again, we were super proud of. You see where our ads appeared to the right on the page. And then on the next slide, we show our boosted posts. And again, the LOHUD article boosted posts, an incredible number of engagements and shares and link clicks, and the same with the next ad you see. And that was also animated as a social media post. So we were really pleased with the metrics and the way they evolved and the reporting. And now I just want to share with you some of the general PR and communications metrics for you. And here is something we use in a format, and I've explained what all of these numbers mean. And we love numbers and we love data. So over the course of the last 11 months or so, or maybe 10 months, we had 115 pieces of coverage. That's a total number of both online and offline print coverage of stories. And then the online readership, and this may astound you, but it's actual data and real numbers, is almost over 1 billion. And that is the combined total number of people who visit the websites where our stories appeared. The 1.49 million estimated coverage views is that not everyone who visits the websites will see the coverage. So they come up with this number on a percentage base of who might have actually seen our article that was received during its time living on that website, because of these articles don't go away. They live on these websites. And then 19,000 social shares. That's where people took an article and they chose to share it with someone they know. And that's incredible. 19,000 social shares, and then 65 average domain authority. And just to kind of give you a sense of what's considered good, 60 to 80 is very, very, very strong. And that's where we end up in that category. And then in terms of print circulation, 914,000. That's the circulation numbers of the print and media that we appeared in.
It's also the area code.
I'm not sure.
I knew we got that number from someplace.
And I'm just gonna scroll through some to show you some examples of where these ads appeared. And you'll see the Examiner, and you see LOHUD, and
not ads, Liz. These were just placements.
I'm sorry.
Ads.
Did I say ads?
You
I
are.
meant articles. I'm sorry. Thank you. And then the next, thanks, Val. The next slide just shows you more. Mid-Hudson and LOHUD, and then the next just shows you more samples of those articles of the data I just showed you before. And just to kind of give you a sense from the newsletter we also write that you see here, We did 10 e-newsletters over the last 10 months. Over 9,000 people received this newsletter, and we had an incredible open rate of more than half of those people actually opened that, which is incredible.
It'd be nice to have that list be bigger.
Right.
Because a lot more people in town that still aren't getting it online, which is unfortunate.
Exactly right. So as I said, the open rate was more than half. It's 65.7%. And the total clicks was over 1,700. And then almost a 20% click-through rate onto those deeper stories that you see on the right, where they actually read the newsletter, but then decided to go deeper into the newsletter reading the article. So overall, it's been a really busy year. The next slide will show you our recommendations based on this summary we gave you. And first of all, our accomplishments and the highlights that I think there was no other place in Westchester County that promoted its economic development agenda better than Yorktown during the past 10 months of COVID. I think we developed a brand identity for Yorktown during this period, created a campaign to target business prospects. The landing page gained recognition that we were open for business, and of course the monthly newsletter. And our recommendations, first and most importantly, continue to maintain a presence through these targeted media channels, which perform best for us, to continue our PR and communications initiatives and outreach, and then expand the outreach, explore new platforms, and build on the momentum. I think, as I heard someone say, we've set the table, and now we've got to keep serving the different courses of the meal, that we have this all teed up, we've gained real interest, and we want to keep building on that momentum. And I'll turn it back to Jeff to close.
I think that really the town has become a model in the county, and there are a lot of imitators now that are trying to get on board to do what Yorktown's been doing. And I think for Yorktown to be, it's seen as a leadership community now. And I think that only augurs well for the future. And hopefully we're also changing the attitude of the residents in town to see that the town board, and I very much appreciate the fact that this has been a bipartisan effort. We feel very well supported by all of you on the board, and we thank you for that. And I think it's terrific. And I think the town is really showing that it's got some moxie, and it's really going after this kind of thing, and it's paying off. So we're happy to answer any questions. We're very pleased we've been working with you, and we look forward to continuing in this relationship.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz and Jeff, Val, and the one guy who's on a plane flying to California right now, Ernie, who's been just absolutely terrific to work with. Just continues to be a workhorse. Ernie is just a great asset for us. It's been, I think, you nailed a lot of it. I think the metrics speak for themselves. From my office, I can tell you that we've got direct solicitation because of the Destination Y campaign. I mean, we had people trying to move businesses out of Manhattan to Yorktown. We didn't even have buildings big enough to fit them. It was amazing to experience. But to your point, we set the table, but now we still have to continue to build. And so I think there's a lot of good things on the horizon. Last night alone, look what the planning board did last night. They approved 3 really important projects for this town. They gave site plan approval for the Lowe's Pad A, which will be a specialty grocer, hopefully next year. They gave approval to fill the vacant Toys R Us building, and the battery storage site, which is the first to be approved under the new framework that we passed earlier this year. I mean, so those things were all moving, and they're really milestone projects. And I think they really do indicate, to Jeff's point, to the business community, but also to our residents, that we're open for business, that we mean business, and that we're trying to do really good things for this community and really help bring about true progress to this community that we haven't seen in quite some time. So I really do appreciate all the efforts from Thompson and Bender, both on the communication side for the town, helping us, especially during COVID. I mean, you guys were a blessing during COVID to help with all the information that we were trying to put out there. And Ernie was just, the guy was turning out press releases and memos and updating the website, almost hourly. And again, the Destination Y campaign, I think, really speaks volumes to what you said earlier. And I've said this before, but we're once again leading from the front, and that's where I think we should be as a community.
I think you guys did a great job. When we sent out the RFP, which was a lot of years ago, one of the things that I remember saying to the then supervisor was, you got to be in it to win it. And we are now, and it's so appreciative. I'm so appreciative of all of you, because it's really, you really have to be out there, and there's no way anyone in town government can do what you do.
Thank you, Alice.
Thank you for what you've done. It's a great project.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board, Tommy or Councilman Diana, Councilman Lachterman, Councilman Patel?
Nice job, guys. That's all I can say. I'm impressed by it, and I'm gonna have to come over for some of that nice apple cider for the holiday.
Yeah, you got.
Put a little something in it, right?
That's correct.
we can arrange that.
I'd like to hit some of that cider too, but I'm still too in awe over the 66% open rate there. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm like scratching my head on how I could do that for my business. So I may be talking to you guys.
Okay.
Well,
great.
Great.
I say something. It's a good investment. You guys sell to make the profit, and I hope they'll come out really good, and we are looking forward to.
Fantastic. Well, we're looking forward to continuing our building on the work that we've already done, and looking forward to another year with Thompson and Bender. And we do appreciate all you've already done for this town. And to your point, like we said, keep the momentum going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Yes,
holidays,
and
and
happy
thanks.
Merry
New-
Christmas.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Have a great new year.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
Thanks, Val.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We're going to move on to our next agenda item and welcome members of Alliance for Safe Kids. We're also going to welcome our county legislator, Vidat Gashi of the 4th District. We should have with us Trissy Kushner, Liz Talbert, and they are going to be providing a proposal regarding youth mental health services, as well as a proposal on diversity, equity, and inclusion, education, and action. Trissy and Liz, you there? I see Liz. Hey, Liz.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Liz.
And
Trissy's connecting.
Connecting? There we go. Hi, Trissy.
Hi. That's always a panic at the last minute.
Yeah, it's okay. It's great to have you. And again, I do want to thank and welcome Vidat Gashi, one of our great county legislators. And I know that, I don't know if Trissy, I don't know if you want to start with what Vidat's been able to accomplish for your organization, or if you're putting it into part of your proposal.
Why don't you let Vidat say what he's doing?
Well,
I think it's so important.
I'll defer. I'll yield to Trissy. I'm sure she'll do a better job.
I'm definitely going to just speak for a second and lead right in so that everyone can follow the story. And even before I mention Vidat, that will also include who he spoke with that enabled us to move forward with this presentation. And I also just wanted to mention what a lovely presentation to follow. I think we work with the community, and it's so exciting to see not just Destination Y, but see such positivity, and to see everyone coming together and getting very excited about supporting each other and supporting a wonderful place.
Hold on 1 second. Ken Rundle's got to be muted there.
Okay. I was afraid that was me.
No. Another panic. Oh, Ken Rundle.
Okay. And so just coming right off of that positive interview, we are excited tonight because we're able to share some very positive news at a crucial time for Yorktown and for the country and for the world. But sometimes we have to start looking, within our own homes and our neighbors and our community in order to be able to extend that help. And what we wanted to talk about tonight was that we're looking at a beautiful opportunity where instead of the Alliance for Safe Kids, as we've continued to connect with the community and put our programs and resources that support youth mental health and prevention of substance abuse and provide opportunities for thoughtful service, we actually have an opportunity where we can extend some of our Alliance for Safe Kids programming. What has happened, we've presented the last few presentations, and all of the councilmen and Supervisor Slater and many community members have identified places where we could look for funding to continue to bring valuable programs, and we've filled out multiple applications and have been working. And what has transpired was Alice was able to get in touch with Vedat Ghashi and talk about possibly some county legislator funding. At the same time, as soon as we started talking to Vedat, it was very difficult to figure out, do we have enough time? We were really looking at a possible missed opportunity to connect the dots, even if he could come through with a basic amount of funding that he was talking about. And then we had this wonderful phone call again from Vedat about an amount of money that would enable us to bring programs for months at a very, very opportune time. And so I'm going to let Vedat kind of share the process of the funding, and then come right back to letting you know how we're hoping to partner with the town and connect these dots so that we can get a tremendous return on investment. Okay, thank you, Vedat.
Thank you, Trissy. Thank you, Supervisor Slater, and the rest of the town board. That wasn't me. Okay. So yeah, Councilwoman Roker, Alice reached out to me and talked to me about the need, and I was familiar, well, through my own experiences, but also through the Rotary Club with Liz, who made a presentation, with the work that Alliance for Safe Kids does. And understanding, especially during this time when drug use and mental health is such a sincere problem. It's an issue for a lot of people. I think it's not talked about to the extent that it should be, maybe. Understanding that it's a real problem and that Alliance for Safe Kids is going to have a hard time continuing, we looked to see what was available within county funding. And then I was talking, and I appreciate being thanked, and it's I don't mean to come off as I do sincerely appreciate it, but this is sincerely self-interested. I have two young kids who I worry about, and I grew up in Yorktown, and I know how many friends I lost through substance abuse and mental health issues, and Alliance for Safe Kids helps people through that. And it was my sincere pleasure to seek what we can do. I'd be remiss not to mention Colin Smith, legislator Colin Smith, because the initial conversation we had with Liz and Trissy was, we'll see what we can do, and I had a smaller number. And then we got Colin involved, and we were able to push together, and we came up with $18,000 to Alliance for Safe Kids in the coming year to allow them to continue as best we can. And then obviously work with others, work with rather Alliance for Safe Kids and the town and whomever else to see what else we can do, where else we can find funds. I'd like to close by saying this is a fantastic example of maybe the way government should work throughout levels, bipartisan. Alice called me. I started making calls at the county level. I spoke to Supervisor Slater about the issue. And then within the county legislature, when I reached out to Colin, he jumped on it. He said, absolutely. And we pushed to see what we can do and like get that higher. Like the nation, Coach sentiment vendor doing for the this is not the end. This is the beginning, in a way, beginning of a transition. But my goal is that Alliance for Safe Kids is going to remain a resource through my kids growing up. And they're young now, but they will eventually be in need of it. And so thank you, Trissy. Thank you, Liz, for the work you do. And to the town, I'm excited to see this next phase and this next project, hoping it goes through. And then excited to see what we can do together going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So what this allowed us to do was to then come back and visit some additional funding. Right, the limitations that presented ourselves initially with the conversation with VDOT and some of the other grants that we have applied for is that this funding comes in, and as needed, it brings in programs, but it will not support a program manager or a salary type of scenario, which there are often programs we've been able to run through volunteers. But when it comes to these research-based, evidence, real programs that we're able to connect to through the county and the state and through the federal government, we have found that we absolutely have to have it managed, that we're working with our youth, we're working with mental health. We, as wonderful as our volunteers are, that in order to really bring these programs in and be effective, we need a manager to do that. And so what our board has been able to do is that we're using every last penny that we can put. Right now, we knew that funding was going to get us so that we could support a manager into the spring. And that would be, we were even counting down to the first couple of days of April. So what we'd like to do, we have in this process, we've been able to get in touch with, again, more funding through our state education funds, through possible approval from State Farm again, different community awareness programs, but each of them have that same limitation. They can support the programming, especially the evidence-based research programming. Our schools will only accept evidence-based, as they should, research programs. But they, again, we're in a situation where we thought, let's come back to our community, let's come back to the town and see if we could possibly enter into some type of service contract where if we could continue for maybe, for an amount such as $15,000, that would enable us to accept over $50,000 of additional funding for programs. And we could use service contract money for a manager, which would of course be our executive director, Liz Talbert, and she would share what we would love to offer. We have there's been a tremendous amount of research. I just want to speak for a second to the need that there's not been a single day that we have not received personal phone calls, emails, text messages of community members, families being in dire straits. We sit on a county faith-based leader board, and we have access to their information where they're in the middle of doing surveys because they're having such, not just Yorktown. Again, this is, so the survey that's going on is a national survey, but they are each experiencing just a tremendous increase in youth mental health, adult mental illness, suicidal ideation, unmet need for mental health. So we want to be that community. We're this community that steps up economically. We step up. We're the ones that are saying, let's, walk the walk, talk the talk. We just came off of a whole month of walk the talk with mental health and the services. We want to be a community that responds to these type of questions. We have also had a tremendous amount of questions about awareness, about what actions our community can be a part of when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we're so excited. Liz has done not just research, but have sat in on committees and meetings, and those are all through our through Westchester Youth Alliance, through Race Amity. There's so many places, and she'll let you know more details. But we have the ability to make these connections and bring them to Yorktown. So in addition to the $50,000 of additional funding that could come back to the community, there's an absolutely you could not begin to put a value on once the programs come, what that overall impact would be for DEI. Again, our entire purpose is using empathy to have these thoughtful connections and to really do community awareness with community actions and making those evidence-based and real programs that other communities can model after. And so I'm gonna end with what we're hoping for is this small service contract that could open huge doors to more funding and to now what Liz will share as far as what we would like to propose.
Can I interrupt before Liz? Just 1 second. One further point I wanted to make, and it was that when we spoke to Liz and to Trissy, I want to applaud the Alliance for Safe Kids for how responsible they were throughout the process. We were looking to see, would the money actually make a difference? When would it actually come in, and what's the point? There wasn't an immediate yes, and the goal wasn't publicity or a photo op. The goal was to allow this Alliance for Safe Kids to continue. And you guys were fantastic, understanding the restrictions, understanding the parameters, and being reasonable and responsible throughout it. So that was the last point. Sorry, Liz. Thank you.
Not at all. Thank you so much, Vidat. And I just want to start by saying that by ASK being allowed to enter into a service contract with the town, it will allow us to continue to work with all of the sectors in the community and use the managerial experience that I have acquired over my 7+ years with the organization to not only share awareness, but to implement actions to address areas of concern that are community-wide currently, that being mental health, as well as diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, I have had the opportunity to both network and work with professionals at the local, state, county, and national level and provide evidence-based programming within the community on mental health and substance abuse prevention. I have planned and hosted forums for hundreds within the community, smaller workshops and documentary screenings, all using local venues. And I understand how they work. I understand what the needs are. Those venues being the schools, the John C. Hart Library, the Community and Cultural Center, and the Jefferson Valley Mall. So I just want to add that I have established and good working relationships with different key people in the community that will in turn help facilitate the programming that we're talking about bringing into the community. So I've also worked, as I said, with all of the sectors for close to 10 years and have very good relationships as well as tried and true methods of getting the information out to the different groups, because sometimes different audiences need to hear things from their pastor or the president of the local youth sports organization. So again, these lines of communication have already been established, and we can utilize them to the furthest extent. And the list of affiliations that I'm able to work with when planning programming and bringing resource to Yorktown is vast. When I think about the topic of mental health, we work very closely with the Youth Mental Health Project, have worked with the Youth Mental Health First Aid community, and as well as the right here in Westchester, with working with the Department of Community Mental Health. We have ongoing conversations monthly with them and share lots of resources, and they're very aware of what's going on in northern Westchester and Yorktown in particular, and what the needs are and what the opportunities are that we can bring to the community. I'm looking to build relationships with professionals and accredited programs to address diversity, equity, and inclusion. I feel like I have some connections with the Yorktown for Justice movement, and I'm definitely interested in working more with the coalition, our own coalition on community safety and engagement. We have been looking at some national programs, Race Unity being one, and definitely looking toward others that are, as Tracy mentioned, evidence-based accredited programming that we can offer the community. So the goal is to not just share awareness, but to actually take action and bring in some programming that will benefit our community in its entirety, from youth on up to seniors, on the subjects of mental health and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I look forward to working with all of you and the community, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be a part of helping, Yorktown in general.
And I'll just mention one thing too. What the board was not to say charging Liz with, but proposing, is that we could identify 4 mental health programs that would meet the needs of the community, and then 2 actual activities, action programs to go hand in hand with awareness for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that way we are proposing these specific programs, and we would have in support of that almost $50,000 of funding to bring the program. So what we're looking back to the town to consider is this service contract, so that we can have a manager, so that we are getting the absolute most advantageous and most important information put into the community, put into our faith-based leaders, our sports groups, our schools. Liz has worked with both school districts almost on a daily basis. So we do know how to connect to the families, but if we just rely on our group of volunteers, who are wonderful, but they are not the liaison, the direct connection. And and right now you have to go with what works. And so instead of working towards our dissolution and handing off wonderful programs to our different civic groups, we would love the opportunity to move forward and not miss the opportunity for this additional funding, and be able to really bring in valuable programming.
Christy, that's great. I can tell you that I've got a 5-year-old at home, and my wife has told me almost daily of stories of kids his age, as she talks to other parents. They're going through serious anxiety because of this whole COVID situation. We just don't know how this is going to impact them. And these are 5-year-olds, which I just, it's just heartbreaking. So, I really think, obviously, providing that type of support network, not just for obviously 5-year-olds, but the youth of Yorktown, because right now we just don't know the impact this is going to have on them emotionally. And we want to make sure that they are in a position to succeed with whatever they do with their lives moving forward. And obviously, being mentally fit and emotionally fit are 2 key components that I know Alliance for Safe Kids continues to advocate for, provide support for. And so I think it's a great investment for the town, and also partnering with the county. It's a great partnership between the town and the county as well. And the DEI program, I think, is great, because we know, as much as people may not want to admit it, but we know racism exists. We know racism's in communities all across America, including ours. But if we also know that racism is taught, it's not innate.
Right.
And so if we can make sure that we are teaching, again, the kids of our community, Councilman Lachterman and I, we were in a meeting the other day, we were talking about drunk driving. And we were talking about, the generational shift away from drunk driving. But that all came from educating that generation at a very young age. And so I just think the DEI program very similarly will educate the youth of and I think that, in a lot of ways we're doing that, but I think it would help us even more educate the youth about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And if we can educate them at a young age, then hopefully we see that generational shift, and hopefully we keep doing these things that at one point, I hope at some point in our lives, we can say that racism doesn't exist or bias doesn't exist, but it starts with education. It starts with educating of our youth. So I think both programs are full of merit and are really important for this community in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and Matt, I just want to say one thing. So we've had for the last couple of weeks a group of college students who are all home for the break. And when we talk about that we want to educate and bring awareness to our youth, I will tell you, these college students, their empathy is out of the park, and the information that we're getting from them and their connection to Westchester Youth Alliance and the Amity, Race Amity, it's just absolutely amazing what they research and what they find right here in Westchester, right here in Yorktown. We have members that sit on their steering committees. We have a tremendous amount of assets right here in Yorktown, but our youth and these college students, they're actually going to be leading us down this path that is so necessary to make the changes and to live and think a different way. And I think they're going to have the greatest impact on our young and on their parents and grandparents, because we're hearing it from people that we already love. And it's our 20 somethings they won't be quiet about this. They absolutely research. They love it. They want to have an impact in the community. But they need a program manager, not to micromanage them, but to help make the connections and to help bring in the resources. So that's where where we have one person connecting 100 dots. And I think that's when we miss that, that management is where we don't get the full, the full level that we can get from programs and from our own community members.
I've long time said, Tricia, that our youth is our future.
Yeah.
And my wife often said, if we ripped open your chest and pulled out your heart, it'd be full of frost. Well, no, it's not true. I'm really not that bad. Okay. So anyway, the other day we had gone to a birthday party, and there was, a little Christmas party that somebody had put on for they're like 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, about 6 of them. And, of course, all wearing masks and so on and so forth. So, you get into little conversations with them. And I said to the one little girl, what do you want for Christmas? Well, who wants a Barbie camper, and who wants this, and who wants that? I asked the one little girl, what do you want for Christmas? And she says, I want COVID to be over.
Good for her.
That about broke my heart. To think that our 6, 7, and 8-year-olds are so inundated with all of this information that this is what they're thinking about, not thinking about visions of sugar plums dancing in their heads, but COVID. When I grew up, I never thought about anything but maybe a cold, and I want to get rid of it so I can go outside and throw snowballs. But this is where I think we need to concentrate on our youth and our mental health.
Can I think, I have not chance to, but I have known Liz and Tracy for a long, long time. And it's a wonderful program. It is a school, community, parents, and, everybody together. So we should support it. My children are grown up, and I know I was involved with the DARE graduation for the first time. Our daughter graduated from the middle school over there, and it was, they were all there supporting all the children, the parents, the community, the police department. And then this COVID came, and now there is other need has come up. So maybe we can just, as the COVID goes away, we can just put it more little, time and energy and a little resources to make this program work for our community as well as our surrounding community. This is a difficult time, and the children are home, and parents has to work and all that. So whatever we can make a difference, it will go a long way, because children are our biggest accomplishments of life's work.
Tracy and Liz, when I think of Alliance for Safe Kids, I think of Yorktown.
Mm-hmm.
This is our community. When I remember the night you came and told us you were dissolving the group, and it's like, what? That is what Alliance for Safe Kids is, what makes us Yorktown. The volunteers who work for you understand what the needs of the community are. They can relate to people that we can't relate to. What I can say is that I'm in total agreement, Matt, with doing this partnership with them. I think that when you say community, it is as much a part of the community as Thompson and Bender was.
Right. Right.
So we're not going to stop looking for other funding sources for you. However, at least we can get us through that. We can get to the summer at least with this.
Exactly. Good.
Well, I'll throw my 2 cents in for what it's worth. Tracy and Liz, you know how I feel about the program. We work with you very closely with the Lions. It's just amazing. I've been the recipient of some of your training, which has been unbelievable, actually life-changing training. When you get to it, your mental health days are unbelievable. You've brought such great things to the town. When I heard about the trouble, and I know the Lions were trying to find some solutions to help out too. It was disheartening. It was, 2020 has been such a, pardon me, crap year.
Yeah.
To see that we had an institution like ASK that is so essential for our kids, at risk. When I heard that you wanted to come before the board, I was just so thrilled and really support it. And I think, we can't thank you enough. And I don't know if everyone realizes it, if you don't have kids and you don't work with ASK, how well your team has motivated our youth.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of youth groups out there, the Leos being one, which is another great group. But I know my wife, when she has a project that she's looking to get done, it's like, well, we'll call the Leos, but make sure you call Liz and Trissy, because we need the ASK kids, because they are very receptive, very motivated, and you guys do such a great job making what is a hard lesson for them to learn. Being involved in the community and doing the right thing and staying away from drinking, drugs, bullying, and looking for the for ending these social prejudices that are out there as well now. You make it fun, entertaining, interesting, and motivating for them to want to do it. Mm-hmm. And we all know that's 90% of the battle, is getting them to want to participate. So, whatever we can do to help, and God bless you guys for the work you do.
Thank you, Ed. And I just want to mention, I know Liz would join me in saying that when we talk about the students through Leos and through ASK, 99% of the time, the same students who volunteer with ASK are already Leos. Yes. As you find with each of you sitting there, you wear many hats and you do many wonderful things in the community. So I just want to make sure that I speak to that extent, because the Leos, they'll sign up for numerous events through the Leos, but anytime that the Alliance for Safe Kids is running a program, they jump right in and help us as well. So we're all wearing the same hats. It's almost impossible to put a name on a great volunteer in your town.
Yep.
Well, it's great. We appreciate all you do. We appreciate Vidat Gashi, our county legislator, for his leadership on this, and Councilman Roper. So we'll go back and work with our town attorney and our comptroller, and we'll move this forward since it seems to have support of the board.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you so much, and happy holidays, and
Thank you.
a wonderful 2021. We wish for everyone.
Here's to 21.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Have a great
Vidat.
night.
Merry Christmas to all. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Vidat. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Take care of that.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, Bridge New York project. We have Dave Paganelli, our highway superintendent, and Mike Quinn, our town engineer, to give an update to the town on the progress of this is regarding Veterans Road and Hill Boulevard culvert placements. Gentlemen?
Mike, would you like to start?
Sure, Dave. Supervisor, we also have Ken Rundle here.
Oh, Kenny, thank you. Yes, Kenny Rundle is also on as well. I think Kenny, you muted? You there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
You got you, Kenny.
There you.
Okay, we wanted to give a little update to the board and to the public on the Bridge New York projects. The contractor that has been working for the last several weeks doing activities that can be done prior to the road closure. So right now, the schedule is to close the Veterans Road location the week of January 4th. And once that closure is officially done, the contractor will, take up the old culvert for removal and install the new culvert, which has been fabricated already off-site. It's made out of precast concrete. And so that is actually, the structure's ready for delivery. Prior to the delivery, the contractor has to set up a stream bypass so we can run the stream through the location. And he also has to complete the utility relocations. Ken Rundle and Dave and the supervisor, we've been meeting with the contractor on a weekly basis, just troubleshooting issues as they come up. The last time we were before the board, we were working to get a health department approval for the water relocation at Veterans Road. We did get that a few weeks ago, and so we're fully ready to go. And once the road is closed, the schedule in the contract is that the contractor will have 10 to 12 weeks to complete the work and get the road reopened. We're hoping, and the contractor is hoping, that he can improve on that. Like, he did do some of this work in advance, setting up the sheeting. So, we'll have to wait and see, what the weather is, but, every measure is being taken to make sure the work can occur as expeditiously as possible. So that's Veterans Road, and then Hill Boulevard. He's also
So can I stop you and ask you a question?
Sure, Alex.
Not everyone knows what a culvert is. So
Okay.
can you kind of explain what you don't have any video, visuals, do you?
I probably do have a visual here. Let me see if I can open it up.
Okay, because maybe you can use that to explain what it is you're doing and why.
Can Diana screen share at this time?
Diana?
I have on my screen the map. I'm just not sure if the board can see my screen at this time.
No.
Diana, can you screen share? Is Diana there?
I also just texted her. See.
Maybe just speak verbally and explain by the time you have a screen.
Well, it's better if he showed a video. If people don't understand Vishnu, not everyone knows what a culvert
Mike,
is.
do you want to send me a picture and I can share my screen if that's helpful?
Okay.
And she's saying it's on. Do you see this, the share screen on the bottom of the screen?
Yeah, but I'm not able to. Oh, here it is. Okay.
There you go. We got you.
Okay.
Thanks,
Michael.
Diana.
Thank you.
So this is a picture looking down Veterans Road to the intersection with Greenwood Street.
Mhm.
And you can see the red arrows pointing to the head wall to the culvert. And then on the picture on the right is the culvert.
Okay.
So the difference between a culvert and a bridge is anything that's 20 feet or less as far as the crossing goes is considered a culvert.
Okay.
So if the crossing was more than 20 feet, this would be considered a bridge. So that's just the way the DOT defines a culvert and a bridge.
Okay.
So on these pictures on the right, you can see the degraded condition. There's actually two corrugated metal pipes that pass underneath the road. Those pipes are in extremely poor condition, and we'll be replacing that structure with this new precast concrete culvert. I have one more picture here. If I could just scroll down.
Go to the other bar there on the left, Mike. Keep going. Nope. Next to that right picture. You should be able to scroll down from there.
Yeah, somehow my arrow isn't working here.
Maybe you should say how long the new pipe structure, concrete structure will last. So they don't worry about it. It's going to last for a longer time than this pipe.
So the new precast concrete structure has a 75-year design life. So, we anticipate that this will last a generation or two after we're done. This slide currently up here is the detour that's in place. So the little box down here in the lower right is the location of the culvert. And that's where the road will be closed. And so the detour is down Greenwood Street to 202, and then back to Commerce Street and down Veterans Road. So the red is considered their vehicle detour, and then a pedestrian detour is what's shown in green, where they could use the North County Trailway to access around that area. Okay, so this is essentially our Veterans Road project. And again, this will be starting on the week of January 4th.
So, Michael, if I could just interrupt for a moment, I think it's important. A lot of people have been a bit confused as to the detour. They need to understand that Solaris Sports Club will not be affected. The medical building up on the corner of Maple Hill and Veterans Road, as well as the one across the street, which is between Solaris and the American Legion, those will all have access. So this closure will be very, very strictly confined to the culvert, which is about 30 feet from the intersection with Greenwood Street. So just the residents should understand that they'll still have access to those buildings, but the detour will take them around out onto 35 to 202 and come around Greenwood Street. So I'm sorry. Thank you.
No,
Hey, Dave, the parking lot will be open also, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Okay.
Now, we also have been working with Ken Rundle and his team on the water relocation. So there's a town water line, that passes through this area of Veterans Road. And so we've worked out a plan to do this, any type of interruption of the water surface will be done in the overnight hours to minimize any disruption to any business or user in this area.
Michael, have we addressed at any point our change work orders with the board?
Well, we were going to bring that up, and I can do that right now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So in this contract, the contract with with Transit Construction is for $2,995,000, and included in that number, let's just say $3 million round number, there's $120,000 for extra work items that inevitably occur when you're doing a project of this magnitude. So there have been two items that have come up that we wanted to make the board aware of. The first item was the water that we were just discussing about, how we're going to do the interruption of service. That the water department did not have good information about the water lines and the sizes. So the contractor had to do some extra test pits, which he submitted a price proposal for $15,000. And the price proposal was vetted by WSP, which is the engineering company providing the oversight here. There's also a unit price in the contract for test pits. So we do think that price is fair for the work that was involved.
Okay.
There's a second extra work order pending for $26,000. And that was for some requirements of the Westchester County Health Department. Essentially, on either side of the water, or either side of the culvert, they wanted an access point where the water department could go in there and they could have access to a valve or a meter, and they could see if there was any leaking of water, where the pipe passes over the stream. So that would, essentially be an inaccessible location. However, they would have access on either side to do a test. So that was an extra cost of $26,000. Also, that was vetted, reviewed, and recommended by WSP. So the two extras that are pending right now total $40,000. And again, that would be all part of the field work orders of $120,000. So we're not asking for a change order. We're just really informing the board about these two changes that have occurred to date.
Okay.
Is Kenny on at this point? I don't see him on my screen.
Yeah, I'm here, Councilman.
Okay, Kenny, would you explain the meter pits, et cetera, that are being proposed at this point, and your findings? I remember we had a discussion about this with whether it's going to be one or two, or and that these are water lines that actually go underneath of the stream, correct?
That's correct. I'm just gonna try to do my video so you can see me. I had a problem with it before.
Okay, you're on. You were on. There you go.
Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, Mike. I'm running a little slow tonight. So thanks for bringing that up, because I just wanted to touch on that to follow up what Mike Quinn was saying about these meter pits. Originally, the health department was requesting these great big concrete vaults to put these little pressure gauges in. So I've worked with Mike. We went kind of back and forth to see. I personally thought it was a little bit overkill. I don't have that much experience doing stream crossings, but I have been around a little bit, and I just thought it was overkill. So we worked together to come up to figure out a way to do these meter pits and put these pressure gauges in that would be acceptable to the health department. So what we ended up doing was putting, they're going to be in 24-inch plastic pipes on the side off the side of the road, as opposed to concrete vault structures that would be there. And I'm sure that saved quite a bit of money on the project.
Now, is there going to be one or two? Because we had discussed something that they wanted two, so you could, because at points in time that water runs in two directions, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Right. The health department is requiring two.
Requiring two. Okay.
And Tom, I also wanted to just clarify, and I'm not sure I've made this clear when I started to introduce this, that those two pits would be required at Veterans Road and at Hill Boulevard. So this cost $26,000 covers both locations.
Oh, on both locations. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It actually covers four pits.
The water runs underneath on Hill Boulevard, underneath the stream. I thought it was above the on the bridge, or is that just the sewer that's
I believe that while there's a water and a sewer crossing there, there's also a town of Somers sewer crossing at Hill.
I believe that's a sewer pipe also. If you go down into the stream, you can actually see the pipe hanging. It goes right through the culvert, and I believe that's the sewer pipe.
Oh, that's the sewer pipe. Okay. Because I had been down in there. I was down in the other one too. It's I think Dave would back me up on that. It's no time too soon to fix Veterans Road.
Yeah.
No, actually worse than you think, because we just have a lawsuit as a result of Veterans Road.
Oh boy.
Yep. So yes, and that's the cost of, unfortunately, kicking the can down the road, and you end up with a lawsuit, and probably could have done the job for free. But we have other areas that we're aware of, and you know what? There's only X amount of dollars in the kitty. That's the problem. What are you going to do?
Yep.
Kenny, Mike, you said earlier that the water department didn't have good, I think you said info or good data. Can you just explain what that means?
So the maps of when they were drawn up, when that pipe was installed, it was actually conflicting where the pipe was. So when we go to try to find a water line, we have maps that we can go by, or we have our GIS system on computers or the tablets. And then we actually go out there and physically go with a pipe locator. It's a 2-piece unit that just sends down a signal, and it comes up to the other signal, kind of bounces off and carries through the pipe. And a lot of that, the different factors are the ground conditions, the conditions of the pipe. And I was out there myself down in the brook, walking through the brook, trying to locate this pipe. And as a matter of fact, Councilman Diana was out there that day. He stopped by, was talking to him for a little bit. And I was getting a great, our pipe locator was giving me a great signal saying that this pipe was over here, but in fact, it was not over there. It was on the opposite side of the road. So in conjunction with the maps not being accurate and just something was not conductive with the pipe locators. Again, I've had several staff members, senior people out there. Myself was out there. And
how old's the map?
I'm sorry?
How old's the map?
They're quite old. I would say, from when it was put in, I'm guessing the 50s, and it's only a guess.
Wow.
Right. Okay. So, but the only sure way to verify the location of a utility is to excavate and get eyes on it. We do the best that we can with what we have. We go by what our equipment tells us. And sometimes there's just things that come up. Like I said, there could be the pipe's not conductive. It's just given different readings. It could pick up something else in the ground, another utility in the ground. So that's kind of what it was.
I gotcha. Any other questions from the board?
Okay, are we are we to expect, do you think, any other surprises?
So right now we've gone through the majority of the submittals, the paperwork, fabrication's underway. So, we discuss extras at our weekly meetings. There are no other extras out there right now. Hill Boulevard, is a bigger project, and we are still waiting for the health department approval. We know that the water meter side, we think the water is pretty much resolved, but we are still waiting on the health department approval for the sewer relocations. We need it for sewer and water, but right now we've gotten a bunch of comments, and WSP is reviewing and responding to the comments. So right now we do not know of any other extras on this project, and we're hoping that will stay that way.
What are some of the comments, if you have them in front of you by chance, on what they're
Yeah, you know what, I
expecting?
don't, but I could send that over to the board tomorrow.
Okay.
I think we got, I don't know, a series of comments last week. They seem to be relatively minor, but you know, one of the more challenging aspects of Hill Boulevard is that the town of Somers has a license agreement to run a sewer through Yorktown to get to a county discharge manhole. And in order to keep that line in service for them, the contractor is required to put in like a bypass pumping system. And I know that the county had a few comments about that. Now, I understand, you know, from doing the design work with WSP, that there's a pretty robust bypass pumping system set up. So I'm hoping that everything is covered, but you know, we're still doing the reviews for that.
Okay. Very good.
Mike, can I ask you a question? Something in case of very heavy rain or something, you know, is there any kind of damage occur? Is it, you know, who's going to be absorbed the extra cost? So, you know, because you never know, something always happens, you know.
Right. Well, the streams, you know, that's one of the good things about this design is like the stream bypass. We're basically doing like a new routing to run the stream, you know, 24/7. There won't be any pumping involved, so we don't have to worry about pumps being overwhelmed. The flow will be the same flow it always is in the stream. And, you know, part of the design work was modeling the stream levels to make sure that this new culvert will be high enough that, you know, will never be overtopped by stream water. So we had to raise it to meet those requirements while maintaining the road elevation. So a lot of that prep work has already been done. There are some erosion controls that are established, so we don't have any dirty water running into the stream. And again, the contractor will be maintaining that on a regular basis to make sure, you know, that all of the good practices are followed.
Mike, does WSP, when they come out, do a checklist, so to speak, to say, hey, look, let's bring DEC, the health department, DEP, if necessary, whoever has to come out, let's have them out here and let's have a conference. And let's get all our ducks in a row before we put shovels on the ground here, find out what we may not need, et cetera, because it always seems like the health department is a sticking point on any of these jobs that we, and I'm being polite, any of these jobs that we are doing. And it just seems like WSP should have a checklist. I mean, they're a big firm. They should know what they're doing and have a conference with these people.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but unfortunately, the protocols don't work that way. You submit your plans to the health department, they kick back 60 questions, and then they want them answered. They're not all that amenable to coming out and, you know, brainstorming, because that would make sense and would make things a lot easier. You know, it's somewhat, I don't want to say it's obstructionist, but you know, it doesn't work that way. It would be great if you can get all the heads together and say, hey, this is what we're planning, but you know, unfortunately, the protocols don't fall that way.
I mean, a pre-construction meeting, you know, I mean, that happens.
Health department's not interested in that.
Right. I know they did it for the Lowe's site. They came out. I remember
pre-construction. I don't think they came out pre.
Yeah, they did.
Did they?
Yeah, well, the hotel was still there.
Involved the utility, the water utilities all around that site as well. So, you know, that was probably of a major concern to them, I'm sure. They were the ones that pushed for us to take the responsibility of that water service to that entire shopping center.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
John, I would say there's regular engagement. I mean, we have certain notifications that are required to the health department. We also have DPW, we have a stream permit for Hill Boulevard. It's a county regulated stream, and they require notification. So, you know, I don't know, like some of these county agencies, if they're, you know, as proactive as we would like them to be. And then when they come out, it seems like sometimes they want to find violations, or they need to find violations to justify while they're there. But I know, like, we have a new representative now from the health department that's much easier to work with than the issues we dealt with on the pump station job.
Mm-hmm.
So we're cautiously optimistic that we're doing better with these folks that are now engaged on Yorktown projects.
Yeah, because it seems like they're very proactive with our dollars, you know, with their unfunded mandates here. That all of a sudden they come up with out of the blue. But anyway, that's another story to be dealt with.
No, that's 100% correct.
Yeah. You know, that's that. And then all of a sudden these things come up. Oh, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I got, guys, I had a couple of questions sent to me by people over the past couple of weeks, especially since we put up the sign about the road closing. So just to stress, it's a temporary closing. Mike, what did you say, 10 to 12 weeks, was it?
Yes, that's in the contract. They have 10 to 12 weeks to complete.
Right. At this point, I assume the schools have the school back there for BOCES has been notified, but I don't think, are they doing anything in person there?
They are.
I'm not aware of that.
I think they're remote now.
All right, but have they been notified, or is that just an assumption on
No,
that
they've
end?
been notified.
I believe BOCES has been notified.
Okay. And,
In all actuality, they're not supposed to come out that way anyhow.
Exactly.
Right. I was hoping that they would have it in person and get used to not using it. Honestly,
That would be
because it's not
nice.
supposed to.
Well, in 3 months, they may very well get used to not using it. Something good could come of that.
Yes.
Is there somewhere where people can click on, let's say, our website and look at where you are month to month?
Yes, Alice, thank you for asking. We set up a web page on the engineering website. There's a tab for this Bridge New York project.
Okay.
And we get a monthly status report, which I think I forwarded over November to the board. I actually just got the December update today, so we'll have that posted, and I'll send that to the board as well. So this is just basically a summary of what's occurred in the month, you know, tracking the progress of the job. So anyone that's interested could check along there. And, you know, we probably could upload some photos too, if you think that would be a good idea.
Mike, can you just reach out to Robin Steinberg at some point this week or next week? She can put the banner up on the top of the homepage of the website, reminding people that it's closing January 4th. We should probably get that up next week.
Okay.
People visiting the town website, it's right there, as well as another reminder.
Okay.
With Hill Boulevard, if you would, Mike, please reach out to me about 60 days before they go to close Hill Boulevard. I know that's a little bit in the future. I just want to get that on your radar.
Well, right now, Tom, the plan on Hill Boulevard is we're hoping, and we've been working regularly, you know, back and forth with the health department, is that we're hoping to get their approval by third week of January. The contractor wants to start the road closure and the same steps I just mentioned for Veterans Road the last week of January or early February. That's what his schedule shows, because he needs to contractually finish this project by the end of May. And again, with the DOT funding, you know, like, it's not that easy to just run late. You know, they really need to get this job done on time.
That's predicated on DOH, on Department of Health approval, right?
Yes.
All right. My reason for asking. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
I was saying we have the health department like regularly engaged in the project, so you know, WSP anticipates their approval by the second or third week of January.
My reason for asking this is our residents in Jefferson Village. I've been queried by them to let them know as soon as we can find out, so that they can put it in their newsletter. And their newsletter goes out on or before the first of every month. So it needs to be prior to that, so that they can.
Councilman, I would then shoot for the first week in February, so they get it in January's newsletter. Let them know that the intention is at this point to close those roads the first week in February, right, Michael?
Yes.
All right, then I'll make a phone call tomorrow and let them know that. Matter of fact, this way here, they're advised. So it'll be the first week in February that road will be closed.
That's the anticipated plan.
Plan.
Better it runs a little later than they're surprised by it.
That's right. Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
Okay. Can we move on to fluoride? I just have it on as a topic of discussion. We're joined by Vanessa, who's been patiently waiting. We discussed this at our last work session. And so I just wanted to see if there are any other questions from the board. Again, this is in regards to the point here. There's a resolution later on regarding the approval of $40,000, $40,338.08 for them to continue the project. So I just wanted to see if there's any additional questions from the board to either Mike or Vanessa on the project.
Okay, I'm waiting for the next shoe to fall. What's my next unexpected expense going to be?
So we did talk about this a little bit. We had a progress meeting for the project just last week that Supervisor Slater was able to participate in, which was very helpful. We did probe the contractor extensively about anything else that they might anticipate. We talked about schedule extension possibilities due to the additional work that we were asking them to do for the masonry, and whether they'd be seeking any compensation for extension of schedule, to which they said they would not be. Any time extensions would be no cost extensions, and did discuss as well anything that they saw from their mobilization or work done to date that would be a future item, which they did not see at this time. So
okay, only because this project has been a bummer from day one, and it just has not been smooth. And it's to the point here where I'm like, are we throwing good money after bad? And it's I don't know. It's probably a little bit of lack of communication. But I just want to know what you're telling me now. We do not anticipate anything further happening. Is that what I'm to understand?
That is my message. And I agree, it has been a bumpy road here, a long and winding road, if you will, on this project.
Yeah.
To get it to this point, and we're committed to seeing it through and delivering it for the town.
This could have been done 8 years ago, okay? And there was some loose tooth in somebody else's mouth. Pardon my language, okay?
And we didn't have the
Michael, will
grand
you
date.
keep an update on this project on your website as well?
Yes, we do, Alice.
Okay.
We do updates on this as well. There's a separate tab, so you could look up either project on the engineering website.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions from the board?
What phase are we at right now? Are they ready to do what they have to do to get this roof over this thing so we can get building inside, or where are we at?
They are pending the board's authorization of the costs. The contractor is prepared to program it into their schedule and begin work immediately for the masonry replacement and the roofing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we're still on timeline for March, right?
I'm waiting for their updated comprehensive schedule. We discussed this at the progress meeting. If they cannot complete by March, given the time that we've lost here, a couple of weeks with getting the masonry work squared away, they have committed to completing by May when the grant would expire. So if we do need more time, it would be at no overhead cost by the contractor, as they've committed to. And they're still maintaining that they can achieve project completion by the grant funding.
Good.
Expiration date.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right.
Quite
Vanessa,
welcome.
thank you. Appreciate it. Michael, Kenny, thank you.
Thank you. Good night, board.
Good night, guys.
Happy
We're gonna
holidays.
move on.
Good
Take care.
holidays.
Yes. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Happy New Year, gentlemen, ladies.
We're going to move on to Adam Rodriguez, and we still have Dave Paganelli with us. We have circulated to the board. Let's see. This is the no parking zones for Commerce and White Hill Road. So this is a legislative update. Adam or Dave, would you like to speak on this?
So we had proposed no parking on Commerce Street from Route 202-35 intersection to where it intersects with Hanover Street by the firehouse there. Both sides. White Hill is from Mohansick Avenue down to Hunter Brook Road, both sides. As that's a narrow road. The problem with them, we saw this actually this past snowstorm when, you know, the windrows were about 2 feet off the curb edges. And unfortunately, in the middle of town, we had some people that were parking on either side, and cars couldn't get through. You know, backed up traffic. We had it on Veterans Road as well, where cars were parked, trucks were parked, and when the UPS trucks were coming out as the school buses were going back in, there was a gridlock all the way up to Commerce Street. So, you know, we feel that these are, you know, necessary public safety measures that need to be taken.
Okay. Adam, anything from your side?
No. He said it all.
And he didn't move his lips.
So why don't we?
No, don't worry. Adam's not moving his lips either.
I know.
Yeah, you guys are staring at each other.
Yeah.
Neither one of us had blinked in a month.
Yeah.
That's right.
Why don't we? I'll make a motion to refer these out, and when we come back in January, the town clerk will set the public hearings.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Hey, Dave, I'm getting a little pressure on our project over here on the Three Corners.
No, I'm sure you are. I had it all marked out, and then we had the snow issue.
Yep, that's what I figured.
I was ready to go, and unfortunately, the storm was like, we're still cleaning up after it.
No, not a problem. I understand.
Once we get it out of the way, you know, hopefully this rain that's coming will clear up a lot of the snow, and we'll be able to get it, you know, hopefully next week. And we were all set to go up there, but
you and I marked that out. What?
Yeah, we had marked it out. Then I went back and kept it marked out, so that we didn't lose our mark, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you know, we had called twice for markouts on it and weren't able to get there in time because of various weather-related stuff.
Okay, very good.
So I apologize for that too. I've been wanting to get those up, and you know, I'm very, very curious. It's a great time to see, you know, particularly with school not in
Being
full
closed.
session,
Yeah.
right? Ease into it, you know.
Yeah, it'd be a good time.
Yep. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Good night, Dave.
Night, Dave.
Good
Good
night.
night. Thank you very much. Good night, all. Merry
New Year.
Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Happy New
Merry
Year.
Christmas and a happy New Year. Healthy New Year, most importantly.
That's right.
That's it. All right,
Thank
we're going to
you.
move on to zombie property legislation. Adam circulated this as well to the board. Adam, do you want to walk through this legislation? You want me to walk through the legislation? You tell me.
Yeah, I can.
Please.
I can do that. Just give me 1 second.
And thank you, Adam, for this. This is huge. You and I had talked, I don't know, a couple weeks ago about it. I had called John Landy with regard to this, and I wanted to see this get moved because of the several properties. I mean, that I know we have not only in town, but over here on the north side of town with the Intercity Tire. You have the Avgush property, and you have the one that's behind the Avgush property that have been abandoned for many years. So, you know, that's just three right off the top of my head that I come up with. And I think this is gonna aid us in as far as that go. I know Avgush has a demo permit, but nothing's been done there yet. So
My pleasure. So this would be, the way it's been drafted, it would be an amendment to Chapter 135, which is entitled Unsafe Buildings. It would add a new section 135-13. It has a variety of provisions, but essentially the law would apply, it would be known as the Yorktown Zombie Properties Law. It would apply to mortgages, both commercial and residential, that are in default by the lender, in which case they must be registered with the building department. They'll have to pay a semi-annual $500 registration fee and have to appoint a local property manager to ensure that the property is maintained, you know, in accordance with the town code and other applicable laws, and also secure. And you know, that's the high level aspects of the law.
I think that's good.
Can I ask you some question here? This may be for Mr. Landy if, or our town attorney. If the house is or property is abandoned, nobody lives there, and they are back in Texas, then how we are going to who's gonna complain it, or are it going to be a foreclosure,
Well, we have instituted some foreclosure actions against properties that haven't paid their taxes. But this does provide for a situation where the property is unoccupied. So that the mortgagee would have to hire a property manager to look after the property, even though it's not occupied.
So it's a bank or whoever owns it. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions from the board on this? No?
No.
Then why don't we do the same as before? We'll make a motion to refer it out to all necessary agencies, and when we come back in the first week of January with the town clerk, we'll set the public hearing on this legislation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And that brings us to our last two items. We're waiting Ken Belfer. There he is. Say his name and boom, he pops up. The beauty of Zoom.
Oh, there he is.
Thank you, Diana.
Hey, Ken.
Hey, Ken, how are you?
He was sleeping. We caught him.
Yeah.
Hey, Kenny.
Hi, Ken.
Hi.
How you doing, Ken? So we've
Good.
got two items to discuss with you tonight. We're going to begin with the Bridal Ridge Affordable Housing Unit. If you want to update us as to where you're at with that piece of property, and then we can figure out what the next steps are from the town's perspective.
Did we lose him?
I don't know, Ken, you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Yep.
Okay.
So can you provide us an update as to where we're at with the Bridal Ridge unit?
Are you gonna do something are you doing something on screen?
No.
Okay, well then give us an update.
Okay. I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm having some technical difficulties on
Okay.
this end, but okay. So the town board met about this about 8 months ago. An owner of an existing affordable housing unit that dates back to the early 1990s passed away, and her daughter, in accordance with the deed restrictions, sent a notice to the town of intent to sell. And the housing board had recommended that the town exercise its right of first refusal and assign that right to an eligible person on our affordable housing waiting list. Town board then seemed positively inclined, but there was one issue which the town attorney identified, which was that the owner passed away with no will, and the daughter, therefore, really didn't have legal authority at that time. So 8 months later, fast forward, and it's taken that long because of COVID for the family to get a ruling out of Westchester County Surrogates Court. About a week ago, they submitted that ruling to the town, which appointed one of the two daughters as the administrator of the estate with the right to settle things out. And so we are back with our recommendation that the town board exercise its right of first refusal and assign that right to an eligible person through the Yorktown's Affordable Housing Program. We did conduct a lottery in the meantime. We have 554 people who responded to the lottery and are with interest and are on the waiting list. And we've been down the list, the first approximately 20, screening them so that we will have one or more applicants ready to submit, starting with the first person on the list. to to see if they're ready, willing, and able to purchase the unit. But we can't proceed without the town board making its decision.
Ken, I have a quick question. Is there any way within the affordable housing, I guess we'll call them regulations, that should this happen again, where a resident of one of our affordable units passes away with no will, that at that point it is automatically given to, I'm not sure, I'm not an attorney. Adam, help me out here. Given to somebody.
Reverts to us or something?
Maybe, so that it becomes, so that it doesn't take 8 months, basically. We can blame COVID this time, but we know the courts don't move at a real expeditious.
Yeah, but I think in this case, it's because the former tenant didn't have a will. That's
right, and that's what I'd like to, because although they own the house, we still have to, not we, but the affordable housing board has to kind of mediate this whole thing. Yeah,
it's a deed restriction, but it doesn't say you own it. And no, I don't think it's going to revert to the town. I think the person who purchased it would have to make that decision.
Right.
If it was a private party that owned a house and this happened, I think they'd have to go through the same process before they could have a real estate agent sell it.
Yeah.
But I'm not, I would defer to the town attorney as to whether we could put anything else in future deed restrictions that could expedite this.
Normally, it would go through an administrative law judge through the surrogates court, and someone would be appointed as administrator of the state. Usually, even in the worst of the good times, like Queens will pump it out in 8 to 10 weeks, 2 months or so. And they're probably one of the worst that I've heard to deal with. And I had to deal with them, and it was not fun. So COVID probably, because the courts had totally shut down, probably did have a big effect on this one, Tom. Normally, I don't think, as long as there's a heir somewhere there, when they're intestate, they go right for administrative, so they can start the process. And once they're afforded the power of administrator for the estate, then they could start that process the next day. But it's just a matter of getting that, getting that with the courts closed, I'm sure did the delay. I think normally in Adam, I don't know if you have any experience in Westchester, but I think 6 to 8 weeks is usually their rulings and administrator is set up.
I mean, each case is...
I have a question for town attorney. Is there any cost involved in this kind of going to the court and all that, and who paid for it?
The daughter did.
Well, there's filing fees. I don't know if they hired an attorney. It's possible.
They did.
But to the town, the way this is supposed to be structured, really, ideally, is that we just assign our right to the prospective buyer, and they hire their own attorneys. I mean, I would be involved in the assignment, but the closing should really be amongst the seller and the prospective purchaser that, the affordable housing group will select through their parameters. So there really shouldn't be any cost to the town, if that's your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I ask
because they don't have money to pay, so, okay.
Ken, let me ask you a question because it came up earlier tonight. I thought it was 1,000, but it's over 500 applications you got. And the main reason that a lot of the people were taken out from the first 20 is because of the size of their family.
Well, yes, that is correct. But each person is screened. The town code has family size restrictions so that you don't have 10 people in a 2-bedroom home, for
Correct,
instance.
correct.
So there's occupancy standards, and there's also income eligibility. So people have
Right.
been screened out for both of those reasons, that they don't meet the occupancy standards. There were a couple of 6-person households, for instance, that I know were screened out, that they could qualify for a 3-bedroom unit if that became available, but not for a 2-bedroom. Others were screened out because their income was over the income eligibility limits.
And a second question. Do you have any doubts that any of those plus 500 people are not going to buy the house? Meaning you're, do you believe we're going to sell this house?
Oh, absolutely. A house for just under $121,000 in a very desirable development in a desirable area of Yorktown. There's just no doubt. That's why 550 people responded. We kept the window very short for applying. I think it was only 3 weeks long, to make sure we didn't get overwhelmed with thousands of applications. For just that reason, we thought there would be tremendous interest.
Okay, so everybody on the board happy? There's no way we're not going to sell this house.
No issues here. Anyone else? Any questions from the board?
I have a question for Ken. Somebody, the new or young couple, if they buy with one child or something, they have more children. I mean, do they still be able to stay there, in the same apartment as somebody looking for 3 kids already and they are not eligible to buy?
Because this is home ownership, once they buy it, it's theirs. The only restrictions in the program are that it has to be their primary residence. But there's no further eligibility tests going forward. They're the owners of the home. The only thing that kicks in is if they go to sell it again, they come under deed restrictions.
Yeah, we don't care if we have more children.
All right. Why don't we, Ken, can we go over to the Lake Mohegan pesticide treatments? I don't think there's any other questions from the board on the matter.
Well, just before you do, I would ask if the town board is willing and able to pass a resolution exercising the right of first refusal and assigning that right.
Yeah, don't we have that on the agenda?
I don't believe we do.
Well, we need to put it on because this woman needs to move. Adam?
Yes. Yes,
You
ma'am.
spoke to Ken earlier this week, did you not?
Yes.
Did he not speak about a resolution?
Yeah, I sent a draft. I have a draft. It's been circulated. Let me just pull it up. I will forward this back to the supervisor.
Yeah, send it back to me if you could. And this way I'll just read it in. It's fine.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Ken, you want to move on to Lake Mohegan?
Yes, certainly. And for whoever's controlling the waiting room, there might be 1 or 2 others from of the officers from the Lake District that might be interested in joining this. Just as an introduction, I want to say that we're working on both short and long-term efforts, and you can expect in the coming month, probably in January, to see 2 additional RFPs regarding the lake that address longer-term efforts. I want to thank the town board for getting the first phosphorus mitigation stormwater mitigation project done on Mohegan Avenue with the installation of phosphorus filtering inserts into the catch basins in the area where the Mohegan Avenue retaining wall was done. So this is the first, and it's a really a great thing. One of the RFPs you'll be seeing soon is for soliciting proposals for design of stormwater mitigation in other areas of the lake. A second RFP will be exploration of a more natural approach that includes aeration and stimulation of bacteria to eat away at the nutrient rich muck at the bottom of the lake. So that also, I hope that will be getting an RFP ready for the town board to look at within the next month. In the meantime, despite these longer term efforts, we have to address the current health of the lake for the coming year to keep it suitable for recreational use. And therefore, we're continuing to do our annual RFP for lake treatments, and that's what is on for tonight's discussion. I want to just highlight the two differences between this RFP and prior years, because otherwise it's pretty similar. The first is that we did separate RFPs in the past for the company that would do the permit applications and the company that would do the actual lake treatment. You have to apply to New York State DEC for a permit. What happened was last year, in 2020, this year, we ran into a problem in that two different companies won the different projects. And when it came to the company that won the treatment bid, because the person who submits the permit has to put their license on it, DC now has procedures where you have to resubmit permit applications all over again if it's a different party than the party that filed the permit. So it caused delays this year. So to avoid that, we've combined the preparation and submission of the permit applications to DEC with the actual lake treatments. Second of all, we're adding a third product to keep our options open in the summer based on lake conditions to utilize the best possible solution. We have 3 permits being applied for, one for copper sulfate, one for Cutrine Ultra, which is a chelated copper product, and a third one we're adding for a product called Earth Tech, which is also a copper product, but that uses less copper. So that it's better for the environment. So that's what we're asking that the town board approve advertising the RFP for this year's permit preparation and lake treatments.
I know you were working on this, Ken, with our town attorney and our town clerk. I don't know if they've finished their review of the RFP yet.
No, I have not.
You have not. Okay. So, Ken, would it be possible for us to approve it at the first meeting next month?
Yes.
That still works with your time frame?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Can I ask
Can
Ken
I
a
ask
question?
one question, Ken? Now they have a, phosphorus restriction in a fertilizer. So does the water, has a less phosphorus concentration now, or it is because of the leaky septics and like that? You have any little comment on that one?
We had really hoped that with the restrictions on fertilizer that we would see an immediate impact on the lake. One of the things we've learned since we did not see that, quite the contrary, we saw the opposite, is that when there have been decades of use of phosphorus fertilizer and decades of use of septic systems, that you continue to get runoff with phosphorus for many years, coming, through stormwater and even coming underground through groundwater. So we have seen increases in the level of phosphorus since, not decreases, but it's cumulative basically. So as more phosphorus comes in, the levels continue to rise.
Ken, what happened with that project?
But something. This treatment is also dependent on the temperature of the water. That's also makes a difference. No matter how you put it, how much you put it in. When the water is too cold or heavy rain, both have a negative impact, right?
The treatments can only be done between May and September. and only during the season of prime use of the lake. There are many factors that impact the effectiveness of the treatment, and before each treatment is done, they assess lake conditions, they take dissolved oxygen readings, and in fact, there have been over the years a couple of treatments that couldn't take place because the oxygen levels were too low. So there are a lot of factors that the treatment company has to consider based on DEC permit requirements before they can conduct each treatment.
Thank you.
And Ken, when are you hoping to open the RFP by?
The end of January is not set in stone, but obviously we want to get the permits approved by DEC and in place, in time to start treatments as soon as blue-green algae is appearing in the lake.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the timing, though, from that. If you're trying to open it at the end of next month and we're not going to approve it till next month, or not even approve it, but approve the clerk to advertise it, I'm wondering if the board would be willing to consider resolution to approve the town clerk to advertise it upon approval of the town attorney. This way, if once Adam reviews it and approves it, it can get out the door.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay, so we'll do it that way then.
Thank you very much. That's a great outcome here.
All right, Ken, thanks so much. Appreciate all you're doing for the town.
Thank you.
Keep the town clean and happy holidays to everyone, Ken, and around the lake.
Happy holidays to all of you.
Thanks, Ken. Happy New Year.
Thanks, Ken.
Okay, we're gonna go. That ends the work session. We have resolutions to be passed from the supervisor's office. This is the resolution regarding Norwest, authorizing the supervisor to enter an agreement with Norwest for the provision of therapeutic recreation programs for residents during the 2021 calendar year at a total price of $38,232. We do this every year. We have a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign a lease agreement with Carol's Kitchen, Inc. We have a resolution for Lodestar. I'll just go right to the end. Be it resolved, the supervisor is authorized to execute any documentation necessary to effectuate the splitting of the VDER credit purchase among those two systems, causing energy cost savings to flow to the town sooner. That's just for the public's knowledge. They wanted us to go to. There's two solar fields that the company is developing. They originally had us on. Adam, which one was it? Smith?
It was Smith, yes.
So Smith is being delayed, and so they want to move us over to their other facility, which I believe is being turned on actually tomorrow. And so 95% of the energy would be offset by the solar field that gets turned on tomorrow, and then the 5% remaining would be put back onto Smith when it's turned on. It doesn't impact our savings or anything like that. So that's the explanation for that. We're going to also entertain a resolution to accept the landscaping bond from Mohegan Lake Motors for the Mohegan Lake Audi Building Addition. And the final resolution, it says cyber coverage policy resolution. It's actually insurance coverage policy resolution. And it allows the town supervisor, authorizes the town supervisor to sign the proposal submitted by Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services, Inc. to provide insurance coverage for the town of Yorktown for the 2021 calendar. I'll entertain a motion for all those resolutions.
Did you do Audi?
Yes.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried.
Yeah.
We also have, I'm sorry?
I was going to say the AFFH one also.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yep. I was going to wait for it at the end, but I'll read this one in from tonight's meeting. This, let's see. We'll just go right to the resolved. Again, this is regarding the affordable housing unit that the town hereby manifests its intention to assign its rights to purchase the property to a designee picked by the applicable procedures under the Yorktown Affordable Housing Program.
Motion. Oh.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Councilwoman Roker, you can push us right along there.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I
Oh,
apologize.
no, seriously, I don't mind. All right, so we're gonna take the rest we'll take them all together then. We have from the Senior Service Nutrition, to authorize the auction of a motor vehicle that is obsolete and no longer needed for public use by the town. From the Engineering Department, this is the resolution authorizing the town engineer and again, that the town board authorizes the expenditure of $40,388.08 as follows, and authorizes the supervisor to sign an amendment to the professional service agreement with Arcadis in the amount of $4,800, and to sign contract amendment number 2 in the amount of $35,538 to ELQ Industries for extra work on the drinking water fluoridation project. Additionally, the town comptroller is authorized to transfer $40,338 from the water fund balance.
I have a statement on that one.
Okay, so we'll have a public I'm sorry, you want to have a discussion on that, Councilman Diana?
Yeah, I would like to.
Okay.
With regard to that one, I think everybody knows my position on the fluoride. I don't have to go into that. I'm still waiting to see where the next shoe is going to fall with this project. All right, I understand after talking to Adam and so forth that this opens us up to liability if we back out of this project now, and we have to pay back the money. We may have to pay back the money that we've already gotten from the state for the project to date. I can't say that for sure. Am I right on that, Adam?
Yes.
Okay. We were misguided in this project from the get-go. Okay, we were misguided in it from the prior administration. I was told that we were going to be able to transfer money from the general fund to the water department, which is untrue and quite possibly illegal. I found out later on, after I had voted to continue with this project. I find that very disturbing that the then town attorney, supervisor, and his administrative assistant would have done that.
Tommy, I'm going to just say, I don't know what you were told, but this project started long before Lanny came back. Lanny came on the board.
Yes, but I had a motion to while Lanny was on the board to disband this project. And he came back to me and he said that this project, we would be able to loan the water district the $900,000 or whatever it was at that point in time, the money that they had to shelve for the completion of this project, which could have been used to reline pipes possibly, you know. And I asked Kenny the direct question, can you say with a 100% surety that if we had a fire up on California Road, could you supply the water needed to put that fire out and save a life? He said, I cannot say that without 100% surety. And my statement was, yeah, but we'll have good, strong teeth, won't we?
You know.
And you might have been there for that, Ed. I believe you were there for that.
Yes,
So, you know, I would never, this project would have been done 2 years ago, as far as I was concerned. I don't know if I would have had the rest of the board's backing or not. I've done some research on it. I'm not a dentist. I don't I don't propose to be a dentist. I have spoken to a dentist. We get more fluoride from everything else that we put in our mouths, like toothpaste and mouthwash, et cetera, than we do from the fluoride that's in the water. The only people that really benefit from this are the developing teeth, but they get that from their toothpaste and they get that from their mouthwash and or a fluoride treatment that the dentist gives, if necessary. If it's necessary.
I think seniors benefit from this as well, Ed. Tommy.
It's possible.
But I understand your frustration because it is frustrating, but I don't think that it's the project that's frustrating. I think that everything that's happened is what's frustrating.
And it's our fiduciary responsibility to be,
sure,
practical to our constituents. And quite frankly, we have approximately, if I'm not mistaken, I wish Kenny was still on, about 30%, might be a little less, a little bit more, of people in this town that are on wells that aren't going to benefit from this at all. Not one iota.
But they don't pay for it either.
No, but the teeth don't benefit from it. Is what I'm saying. Not that they don't pay for it. Plus, what we're not bringing into this whole thing is the somewhere between $40,000 and $60,000 O&M that it's going to take to maintain and run this system on a yearly basis.
Okay, may I make a comment now?
I'm not
when
finished.
my time. No, I'm asking you.
Councilman
Can
Patel,
I make it?
Councilman Diana said he wasn't finished. If you just
Well, as soon as I'm done, Vishnu, I'll let you know. But just be another minute. But for that, I know we have to go forward at this point to mitigate possible lawsuits that the contractor could give us because of backing out of a project that we have signed contracts for. But I want it known that I am not for this project. I do not change my stripes. If I dig my heels in, that's what I feel. And I don't feel that we were kept abreast of this situation from day one. And it's not right. It's just not right. It's not right for our taxpayers. Thank you.
So can I now?
Yes, Councilman Patel.
Sure, go ahead, Fish.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Councilman Diana, you have, your right to speak what you feel and what you know. But let me just tell you, when you take any kind of medicine in your body, absorption rates of your body to cure the disease is factored in many ways. So doctors can give you, and then doctor can change you the formula. So everybody's body is not the same. And 0.0 some, I forgot the exact number, I have a picture here, that much fluorine is in everybody's body. So somebody say I can, I have a no cavity in my mouth, okay? And, I take care of myself, but so many people in my family, they have cavities too, okay? So I'm not saying like that. So fluoridation, those are naysayers, are a journal of irreproducible result, like a fake news, okay? And those are existing in every field, okay? Engineering, science, medicine, everything else. So this is the reason I have studied this in fluorine. And if fluorine chemistry is very, very complex, okay? Absorption rate is very different on a different age. And so these are the beneficial, because many countries, advanced countries, they have a fluoride, chloride, the toothpaste and the water bottle, everything else. This is the good project, and it could have been done. And let me tell you, between 2015 and 16, instead of a $3.5 million was taken away to balance the budget, and then, I made a mistake. Then they increased the 25% rate in water. That's why there was no money. And those monies were available to do the project, and then, things change, So money is coming from will be reimbursed, and then there is the additional cost. Do you, you have your view, and I have spoken to the commissioner of health, he was right there, and we all agree. And I think we are still almost ready to support now all the way, because we are going to get some money, most of the money will get coming back, and additional extra. I agree with you 100%, already messed up in engineering and death and delay. And we all have a right to, control the cost of running the project. That's my view. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Patel.
If I could just say something, first and foremost, I don't think it's fair to be dismissive of people that do not believe there's a benefit of fluoride and just say, well, it's fake news. I think that people have, the right to do their research. They have the right to their opinion. and it's not the place of the board to tell people or anyone on the council to tell people that your information is garbage because I don't agree with it. So that's that's first and foremost. But I'd also like to say, I know it was mentioned about raising the water rates that we had to do. That was not a problem with the fact that we gave back money to the taxpayers. Actually, it was before I was on the board and the money was given back. But it was basically for the fact that for 10 years, we never addressed the fact that the water rates were going up. And no one wanted to raise that money until our board at that time decided that we needed to do something about it.
And it was in the code, Ed.
Yes, and it was in the code. So, I just wanted to, I think that both are a little disparaging of the situations, but most important, I don't think that, if someone doesn't agree with it, I don't think that makes them wrong. It gives them a different opinion.
And let me tell you, I have studied the water since I was in high school. Do you know that? And that was my passion. May I just say something? There is a reason I'm saying it. More people in the world today and tomorrow and the next maybe 30, 20 years die from a disease, die from the disease related to waterborne disease, water contaminated water today in the world. Okay, so this is the kind of thing. If the United States, our country, we have a great resources here in New York. There are some places they don't have it. That's why even go to Newark, New Jersey, they have a problem because of whatever the water comes in and the pipes. These things are very complex problem. So society has a responsibility to provide a potable water for the good of the humanity. This is my passion, and I study the water very detailed. I have a lot of commitment to the water like this. So if you collect the money and you spend the money, and then if you use less, you have a less cost. But you have to spend the money, and people demand potable water everywhere by the regulations. There are federal law, state, county, local. So, this is the kind of thing. Now I have received 200 email in a reference to this fluoridation project, and I know who they are, okay? I know who they are, okay? Journal of...
All right, can I say something,
How
Vishnu?
will water have to do with each other? I think we're talking about two different things there. I just don't think it's right to be dismissive of our citizens who don't agree. And I think we need to give that ear, which we have. And we've all made our decision based on what we think the merits of the project are, even though that scope has changed. If you want to double down on the fact that their opinion doesn't matter, that's up to you. But I just think that it's inappropriate to make that statement, because there are other people that have studied water their entire lives, and they may not have the same opinion. They may not have come to the same conclusions. That's a wonderful science and experiment.
Okay.
Can
No,
stop?
Councilman,
The board has
Can we let Councilman Roker speak, please?
Stop. The one thing that I'm proud about this board is that we do have respect for one another. And not only should we have respect for one another, but that also translates to the residents of Yorktown.
Correct.
We may not always agree. We may not be on that same page. But God, I would never want to work in a place like Washington where they're totally out of line. I appreciate that we all get passionate about certain resolutions or whatever, but let's always be mindful that we must be respectful.
Thank you, Councilman Roker.
Thank you, Alice.
Any other comments from the board? Otherwise, we do have two resolutions before us. The first, again, authorizing the obsolete motor vehicle from Senior Nutrition Center. I can take that alone. You want to make a motion on that?
Motion.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. And then the second is in regards to approving in total $40,388.08 for the extras for the fluoride project. And I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, and with that, there's no other business before the board. So I want to again wish the town of Yorktown and our entire board a blessed holiday season and a very, very happy and healthy new year. Looking forward to continuing the great work that we've started here in 2021. Thank you so much. God bless.
See you next year.
Entertain a motion.
Happy New Year.
moved.
And
Merry
good
Christmas.
health.
Happy New Year.
Hope all the families are well and enjoy your holiday.
Yes.
Have a good night, Yorktown.
Good night, all.
Night.
Night.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.